Kelly Krauskopf, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you were perfectly fine when Fever fans were bending over, kissing your ass, applauding your decisions, you better stand here and take it when Fever fans are pissed off, upset, and are voicing their displeasures. If our voice mattered that much then, you best believe it matters that much now.
The Indiana Fever president recently said a few things about Caitlin Clark that have the entire world of basketball. In addition, I have to admit that the blowback was swift and severe. When you try to downplay the importance of your franchise players, karma has a funny way of serving as a reminder of the real leader. The ramifications of this error are completely absurd. What do you think happens when businesses try to cut back on their biggest stars?
Fever brand is going to get as big and go as far as Caitlin Clark takes it. And I don't think Kelly Krauskopf understands that. And the latest video that is surfacing, floating around, being consumed by Fever fans across the globe, because this is an international superstar they have on their hands. This may have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
It seems that someone thought it would happen at the Indiana Fever. It was a brilliant idea to record a discussion about their intended growth of the brand. More than just Caitlin Clark, since nothing communicates a smart business strategy like making fun of people in public. The person who independently prevented your franchise from becoming completely insignificant, isn't that right? Fever leadership made comments, I'm being polite and using the term leadership here, in which they talked about their desire to create a long-lasting brand akin to Apple while making sure that everyone understands that they want to avoid relying too much on their core players. By the way, corporate jargon is fundamental because everyone is worried concerning our group.
That we want to sustain the growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader in the country, and a brand, an enduring brand, like Apple or something. I mean, we have a real opportunity here.
Let me explain how tone-deaf these comments were. This executive basically said that they wanted to keep growth and excitement for the franchise, as well as suggesting that, Caitlin Clark, the person responsible for that concentration, should not be prioritized over growth and interest. According to McDonald's, they want to be known for more than just hamburgers while working hard to hide the Big Mac. When you made fun of their intelligence, the fans' quick response was exactly what you would expect. Social. The media was flooded with comments accusing the company of being completely detached from reality. To be honest, they deserved all of the criticism. They were successful.
This isn't the NFL. This is the WNBA. A star is going to take the Fever where the Fever want to go. And that star is Caitlin Clark. Kelly, you're talking about being a leading brand. You're talking about sustaining growth, sustaining the interest level in the franchise. You know how that happens? Is if Caitlin Clark stays in Indiana, is if Caitlin Clark is participating in an entertaining and exciting brand of basketball that doesn't take away and diminish her skill sets, that doesn't turn off fans that have been following her for the last 3 to 5 years.
These intelligent business people seem to forget things like this. Maybe 4,000 people were watching before Caitlin Clark arrived. The Fever. Even on a good night, the television ratings for each game were so low that very few people signed up. The group was essentially invisible within the realm of sports. They then begin selling as soon as CC shows up. Out arenas, establishing attendance records, is really relevant to the national debates. However, in their infinite wisdom, they think that something happened as a result. Not because of their amazing organizational structure. They have a gift that goes beyond generations. People are genuinely interested in watching basketball. The illusion is utterly faltering. The comparison to Apple is hilarious because Apple built their entire brand around innovative products that changed everything. Their attempts to downplay the iPhone or act as if the iPad were unimportant. They built everything after embracing their groundbreaking inventions close to them. What? The Fever should be doing precisely this. Which lucrative franchises consistently have moved on from their celebrities? When you have Michael Jordan, you don't try to reduce his power. You build the entire business around maximizing his potential. When you're Magical Johnson, you don't act like the team. You wouldn't be as popular without him. Showtime was not produced by the Lakers by accident. It was no coincidence that the Bulls became a global phenomenon. These things happen as a result of intelligent groups discovered they had distinctive players and built their entire identity around displaying those skills. But instead of embracing reality, it appears that trust ignored the fever brain memo that they had won the lottery, and Caitlin Clark are worried about distributing the wealth and making certain that everyone gets their shine. They appear to be more concerned with hurt feelings than winning titles. Let's also talk about how timely these comments are, which makes them even more ridiculous. This came right after we had been watching. Caitlin has difficulties in a system that doesn't make the most of her abilities. We've seen her struggle to make contact, deal with teammates who don't pass, and take part in an offensive play that seems to be intended to lessen her efficacy. Consequently, when fans are already irritated by how the company is handling its what do they do superstar, they make comments before leaving the public that basically confirm everyone's worst suspicions about what their top priorities are. Though they were trying to use petrol to put out a fire, retaliation was swift and harsh. Admirers started to question whether the organization really deserves Clark. People began discussing Caitlin's potential advantages somewhere else if her contract allows it. The exact opposite of what you want when trying to build an enduring brand. The worst part is this: they have every right to be concerned. Caitlin Clark is not just going to stay in place forever if the business doesn't show that they are committed to success. She is too competitive and talented to waste her prime years working for a company that doesn't respect her, their belongings. Particularly instructive is the comparison with other markets. What if Clark and Caitlin were doing a show in Boston or New York? With this kind of internal dysfunction, sports radio would currently be totally destroying the press and day-to-day management. There would be ongoing pressure to make changes at this moment. However, they think they can get away with thinking this way because of their location in Indianapolis. In reverse, they are monitoring about making a point. Similarly, the biggest irony in this circumstance is that by trying to protect themselves from depending too much on Caitlin Clark, they are actually putting themselves in greater danger of losing her. When you don't value everything you have, you create conditions where which companies that take action can access that asset. There are also a few. Some organizations would be delighted. I'd be delighted to welcome Caitlin Clark. Undoubtedly, develop their entire identity about maximizing her success marketplaces. Instead, her fame would be welcomed of trying to manage it in order to produce. Everyone is relaxed. The idea of karma of the whole situation is that their comments immediately generated the exact kind of disagreement and criticism they were probably trying to avoid. Instead, they arrived with well-balanced priorities, giving the impression of being a well-run business. CEOs appear to be tone-deaf and are unable to understand their own business plan. It's probably the most accurate assessment of what happened here. These people were incredibly fortunate, but they don't really understand why. They think their accomplishment can be duplicated without the person who created it, and they will soon find a incredibly expensive lesson about the realities of professional sports. When you publicly minimize your franchise players' importance, don't be surprised if the basketball community calls you out on it. The Fever's leadership only learned this truth the hard way. What are your thoughts? If businesses ever try to minimize their superstars, please let me know in the comments. Click like and then subscribe to see more perspectives that cut through the corporate nonsense.